Hello, this is Engineer Duaso, and with this video, we're going to apply the formulas that we have discussed sa simple interest natin. Okay? So we're gonna have this problem here. Problem number one. Let me just read it for you. It says here, Mr. Marcos deposited 1,000 pesos in a bank savings account with an annual interest rate of 8%. Now, he chose not to withdraw the interest earned at the end of each period and instead let it accumulate. How much will he have at the end of the third year with simple interest? Okay. Now, before we go to the formula here, I want you to understand a very fundamental aspect in problem solving. And the first thing that you need to do when you solve problem is, how do I start the problem? And you can apply this concept or this principle to every problem that you're going to solve. Okay? And because I've been solving a lot of problems no for throughout all my career. And this particular concept, I've developed this one. I always start with the required, because the required there gives you a map on where to start and what to do with those formulas there, that especially when you identify the required there. Diba? Kasi one of the problems po sa problem solving is, well, how do we start to solve the problem? And some students would just start ay, solve na lang ako ng area para maka-points lang ako. Solve lang ako ng ganito para maka-points lang ako without any proper direction. So that's why you need to have a starting point when you solve problem. And to start the problem is to identify ano ba yung gusto ko makuha dito for this particular problem. Okay? So in this problem, let me go straight ahead sa last sentence natin. It says here, how much will he have at the end of the third year with a simple interest? Now, ito po, napaka-crucial na to kasi the language of economics is not just the formulas there, but we have to be able to know if is this present worth or future worth. And how do we know if it is a future worth or a present worth? That depends on the context, that depends on the verb that are being used there. In this particular problem, it uses the verb, let's identify, it says here, the will. Okay, now will here is what? Future tense, no? Future tense po ito. Meaning to say, how much you're talking about the amount, okay? You're talking about the amount there. So, amount, what kind of amount? Is it present worth or future worth? So, how much money, how much amount will there represent what? Represents what? Future tense, which means to say, in this particular question, we are solving the what? The future worth. That's where we will start our problem. Okay, so at least na-identify na natin that what we are trying to solve here is the future worth. Now, will he have at the end? No, ito pa. At the end of the third year. Okay, so that is the future worth there. Now, so now that we have identified that future worth yung isosolve natin, now let's try to organize the given dito. Now, I call this method the FPIN table. Ulitin ko the FPIN. Now, what is that? This is the table that I've developed, especially in solving economics, no? Kasi napaka-importante na ma-organize natin yung thoughts natin. So, what is this? The FPIN table here. So, the F here represents the future worth. The P here represents the present worth. The I here represents the interest earned, not the money, not the rate, okay? But it is the money. The I here represents, a small I, represents the interest rate, and the N is the annual. Okay, so isa-isahin natin, no? So for the future worth, this is the requirement, and this is what we want. We want to calculate for the required value po. Okay po ba? Now, the required future worth po. Yan yung gusto natin makuha dito. Okay. Now, for the present po, meron ba tayong present dito? Basahin natin yung problem again, no? So, Mr. Marcos deposited, and the deposited here is another verb. Deposited 1,000 pesos in the bank. So, let me just stop here because in here, is already a preposition. Okay? So, yung deposited natin dito, this is another verb. Okay? But the verb here, it is in what? In past tense. Alright? Now, how do we reconcile this one? Kasi, when it comes to the economics, we do not have past worth. We only have what? Present worth and the future worth. So, how do we reconcile this thought? Now, every time that you encounter a verb that is in past form, okay, most of the time, depende pa rin to sa context, ha? Most of the time, in this particular context here, we know that this is referring to the present worth. Okay? So, present worth yung i-consider natin dito based on the context here. Okay? So, again, wala tayong past worth. We only have present worth and the future worth. Okay? So, yung P natin is 1,000 pesos. Now, let me just continue. In a bank savings account with an annual interest rate. So, naka-annual interest rate po ito. Ibig sabihin na to po, okay, that the 8% here is your I. Tama ba? That's your 8% there. Okay, so ilalagay natin dito yung sa small I natin. Okay, so that's the 8%. Now, he chose not to withdraw the interest earned at the end of each period and instead let it accumulate. Okay? So, nag-accumulate daw siya. So, how much did he earn at the end of the third year? So, ang third year natin dito, which is naka-annual, 3. Okay. So, what do we want? The value of our future worth. Ito yung given natin. We have P, we have I, and we have the value of N. Okay? So, wait lang. That would be for the next problem there. Okay. So, ito yung sa solution natin dito. So, future worth. We know that the formula there, it is F is equivalent to P times quantity 1 plus the value of I, the interest rate times the annual period. No? Okay, so all we have to do is to substitute. We do have here the P, the present worth, and then the I is the interest rate, and the N, it is the number of accumulation, okay? Years. So that is 1,000 pesos times quantity 1 plus, yung I natin is 0.08, okay? Yung N natin is 3 years. So we just have to use our calculators and we will have now our answers. Let me just use my calculator here. Okay? So it is 1,000 times 1 plus 0.08 times 3. And that should give me 1,140. Okay, and that is the future worth here. Okay. Again, what is the takeaway here for this problem? Now, you have to understand economics. Ang language niya ay future tsaka present. So, it is a must sa atin that we will be able, we know how to recognize the present and the future. Okay? It's a very simple problem, but there is a lot to learn from this one. Okay? Hi, this is Engineer Duaso and thank you for watching. For more videos and for more contents, don't forget to like and subscribe.